What is going on, guys? I am here with my student Melda. She just crossed 10,000 subscribers. She's currently doing $3,500 a month on her channel, and I'm super excited. I want to bring her on here. Melda is an amazing person. I had the opportunity to work with her, through and through, and to see her journey along the way, the ups and downs to get to where she is today. It's truly inspiring. And, I just want to bring her on to, get to share her story a little bit more and hopefully inspire you all. So, Melda, welcome. I just want to ask you, how are you feeling right now after reaching these milestones, going through the roller coaster journey? Just kind of share your emotions raw.
I'm super excited, to be very honest with you. I think you know my journey, right, Paul? I came from the corporate side. I was working for like 20 years. You could say that I was a corporate slave. I was a corporate worker making sustainable, consistent money. And then I decided to become a full-time entrepreneur. And I didn't have income in the beginning. Tried a few things, didn't work out, and tried YouTube. And Alhamdulillah, as I said it in my religion, Alhamdulillah, it worked out. And being able to make money again, being able to make earnings again are just awesome. And I know like the potential is there, like to grow even bigger. So I'm
Yeah.
excited, super excited.
No, 100%. Especially, seeing you go through your journey and like your ups and downs and, to see you make your first dollar on YouTube and have your first successful video. I remember it was like what, one video that got like 2 million views or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I remember that video going viral. Then you show me that video. I'm like, and you didn't seem that excited. But for me, I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, this is going crazy. And like to see that your first video and that propel you to where you are today. And it's really only been a few months. Like how long ago did that first video like pop off?
I got monetized in December. So
Okay.
about like 5 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, cool. So that's very exciting because like, it's only been 5 months since you got monetized on YouTube and had like your first video pop off. So I can only imagine like where you're going to be in the future. So I have a few questions here that I want to ask you because, there's probably a lot of people like you in their corporate 9 to 5s probably felt the same way that you did, felt like a slave, didn't want to continue down that path. They might have been making good money, right? But the thing is, they just felt their soul kind of drained from them. So, like, what motivated you to reach out to us in the first place? Like, what was your driving force? Like, I know, getting out of the 9 to 5, but, expand a little bit deeper on what you felt. What did you go through? What was like that critical point in your life where you said, no more of this? Like, I want to do something for myself.
Okay. I think like from 9 to 5 point of view is the fact that I felt that I could bring more blessing to other people if I have my own business. I mean, like that was initially why I decided to leave the corporate world, right? But things have been quite interesting for me as well in terms of the journey. So it hasn't been smooth, to be very honest with you. I tried a few things like what I mentioned, and it didn't work out as well. And I was at a point where I knew I had to start earning money again, Paul. So I've been good with saving. So in the beginning, I was able to live with my saving, which is good. But there was a certain point where I was like, okay, I couldn't burn money anymore. I need to start, like making earnings now. And I had two choices at that time. I could always go back to the corporate world. I could. I mean, like, inshallah, I could step back to my previous role, right? Or I could just try out this entrepreneur thing, and try to make it work. So I decided to stick on the second one, and I decided just to make it work, whatever it takes. And I think it's not really just about the earning for me, Paul, but it's also about the freedom and flexibility in terms of time. Because I've been in the corporate side for 20 years, I know like I wouldn't be able to have this time flexibility if I would have stayed there. Like maybe I would have the consistent income on a monthly basis, but it was a trade-off to the timing. It was a trade-off to my freedom. So I decided to stick it in here, and then I found you guys, which was also very interesting because I actually had been wanting to have a side income from digital for such a long time. I mean, I was in marketing, I kind of knew how it works. So like for years, and when I said long time, it really years, I was still in the corporate world. I wanted to have like side income from digital, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. So when I found you guys, it was just like an interesting match. Okay, this is maybe my way to have that automated digital revenue or income that I've been wanting to have.
Okay, that's awesome. And like, I'm sure you probably stumbled upon one of our social media sources, and whenever it's your first time, seeing something, naturally you're gonna have apprehensions. Naturally, you're gonna have fears. You're gonna like, what is this? Is it a scam? Is it legit? And like, everyone goes through those emotions. And so, like, what were those initial emotions that you went through, and what were the things that helped you overcome it, and decide to take the action and come hand in hand with us and like join the program?
Okay. That's for sure, and I'm not in the US, I'm in Indonesia, so I honestly have never heard about you or Freedom Accelerator before. So I did like a lot of research, to be very honest. So I was super skeptical. And before I joined this program, I was actually going to join an Instagram program because I thought by doing Instagram, by learning Instagram more and deeply understanding Instagram, it will also help me with my other businesses. But I got lied to with that program. Honestly, I lost a bit of money in that program as well. So, I mean, I was in a very skeptical mode at that time, because I just went through that. But then I did a lot of research of you guys. I stalked you and Freedom Accelerator. And the good thing is, I didn't find anything negative about you guys. So, I mean, that was a good, when I said deep research, I really mean deep research. Okay, Paul. And that's when I mean, like, it's a good sign. And then I sign up, I think, via website, and then you guys gave me a link for me to review like all the videos, and I did like all the videos before I jump into the call. And yeah, the rest is history. The rest is I'm here. But definitely was scared to try. But I think also at the time for me, it was mostly fear of failure.
Mm.
I was so scared that I might not be able to, like, make it work in here. So it was mostly that kept me from, like, I think I spent like 2 weeks thinking back and forth. Should I jump into the call or should I not? So, but I think mostly for me, it was fear of failure, really.
Gotcha. So now that you got to experience like our program, our coaches, and our community, compared to maybe some of the other programs that have been out there, not to throw shade on any other company out there, but what were some of the differences that you've experienced real time? Honestly, the good and the bad. So this way, other people have, yeah, feedback, because a lot of people have gone through other programs, and some of the reservation that they have about joining programs is the fact that they didn't feel like they got much value from other programs, right? And so they're hesitant to join future programs. So what was the thing that made you like tip it, and what was your experience after actually joining?
Okay. So actually, like with the Instagram program, I never got to join the program. So I sign up, I paid a bit, and then I have reservation. I talked to the person. He promised to return my money. Never did. Oh well. I learned my lesson big time. But I think like with this program, what I love about it, and this is also explained during the first call, like with your representative, is the fact the program is so structured, and the fact that it's a journey. So YouTube is a journey. I was never sold on a promise that is I'm going to make so much money like in a week. That was never the promise from your team. But your team promised me that it could be big as long as I want to follow the journey and I want to follow the structure. And what I really love about the program, the first thing, it's really not about the uh, classes. I mean, like the classes that you put in school. I think they're great. But what I love about the program is really the support. I mean, you guys have like 5 coaching calls, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the week. I mean, like, and we could jump into like any of the coaching calls. So it's really depend on us whether how much we want to quote unquote utilize the program. I mean, if we have time, if you want to dedicate the time, join the coaching calls, like 5 times a week, you'll learn something out of it, like for sure. And so that's one thing that I appreciate the most. And I also appreciate the atmosphere, Paul. I think you and the team did an amazing job just making like a very supportive atmosphere, even like between the students. Like I think we really celebrate other successes. Of
Mm,
course, we want to have success as well, but we really celebrate it. We're really happy, when other people are achieve a certain milestone, and we ask questions, and even the students help to answer the questions,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
I think those two are really amazing.
yeah, 100%, 100%. I think one of the things I love most about our program is really the community aspect, because at the end of the day, it's like, YouTube automation, cool, like there's strategies, but I think what makes the real difference is the people, the people along the journey that motivates you when times are tough, when things aren't going your way. And, all of a sudden you have like two, three students or even coaches like coming in, no, you got it, like, like motivating and pumping each other up. And I think that's like the most beautiful part. Like you have a community of people that are here to like help you. And it's kind of like a cycle because like students will become successful, get monetized, make money, and then they kind of become like coaches in their own right in the program where like they help other students. So it's like a great like ecosystem. Now, like, what was the thing that gave you, ultimately the reassurance to join our program? I know you did deep research, but was there a moment where it's like it clicked for you? Like, no, like I'm getting started. Like, I don't want the 9 to 5. I'm willing to take a risk.
Okay. So it's not one thing. It was never one thing. It was like a series of different things, right? The first one is I stalked you guys. So I mean, like I did my research, which is good. And I encourage everyone to do their research beforehand just to give that reassurance. And then second thing, I think it was really the first call with your representative, with your sales representative that told me that, hey, it's going to be a journey. Again, I was not sold on a dream that I'm going to make like 10Ks in like a week or whatever, but it's a journey. But this is what we have. We have like online classes that you watch the materials from, and then we have coaching classes where you can ask questions, and you can ask questions like in the community 24/7. So
Yeah.
it's a journey, and we have the structure for you to win. And for me, Paul, it's just very grounded. It's very realistic, it's very grounded, and I appreciate that better versus someone telling me that, hey, join our program and we'll make you rich in like a month or so, but not having clarity on what's going to be done in the program. So I think maybe also from my experience, I love structure, like something with structure. I find it to work better for me. So that's when it really ticks for me, like, like, okay, this is good. And the other thing is, I remember like visiting your website and saw you with your gold plate and your silver plates, and then I told myself like, okay, this guy must know what he's doing. I mean, like he obviously we can see his achievement. And for me, I don't have another 20 years to become an expert in something, Paul. you know. So and I mean, like I'm not that young. I don't have another 20 years. So and I'm a firm believer. If you want to be good in something, you learn from the experts. That's why I mean, like again, after the research, after the calls and everything, I believe you guys are the experts. You have the experience. You know YouTube inside out, and that whole process just kind of made me decide to join the program.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think and that's one of the things that gives a lot of other programs really bad reps is the fact that like they promise like in 2 months or 3 months that they can make X, Y, Z, and that's just not realistic. Like especially for first time business owners or people that are getting started. It's like, okay, cool. If you're experienced with business, okay, cool. Maybe you might be able to do it faster, but like most people, like it's their first time getting started in business. It's the first time like starting anything. And so like to try to do anything in 3 months is almost impossible to expect that out of someone, right? It's not that it's impossible. There's people that do it, but for the vast majority of people, it takes a long freaking time to figure it out and like get success, right? And a lot of people have to go through some failures to learn. And then once you learn, then you actually start to know what to do exactly, right? Um, and it's a lot of people have like the get rich mindset of like I need to get rich quick. And but the thing is like something that we emphasize in our program and throughout our messaging is the fact that this takes time and it's not get rich quick, but it is worth it, right? It is a business model that can change your life. So, I kind of want to understand um, from starting this business and having the source of income coming in, obviously not like entirely passively, you still have to do some work, but like waking up and you see that dashboard in your account and like the money populates. I'm sure that's really cool, right? Without you having to like do a crazy amount of stuff. So how do you see your life changing, now that you have this income source and now that you have this like kind of like strategy or like this new like I don't know, this new way of thinking about how to generate income. How do you see your life changing in the next 5 years, 10 years in the future?
Okay. So I think before I go to the future, I want to tell you one thing that kind of changed my perspective even more with this business. Okay. So when I stepped down from the corporate world, people ask me like, why? And then after that, they asked me like, so what you're doing now? So I told them like I have a marketing consultancy, and also at the same time I'm a content creator, and I have to explain to them, like, okay, I'm a YouTube content creator, blah blah blah, faceless, blah blah blah. But I realized I changed my answers in the last few months, Paul. So I told them now, like, I have a marketing consultancy, that's one, and I have a digital business. From
Mm,
content creator to digital business, that's a big change of words. And the reason I think I start saying that is because I believe in the potential. I think like content creator for me equals, at least it's for me, it's equal to like side income. And when I said digital business, it's a business, it's not a side income. It could be the main income and even more.
yeah.
And I think the moment I realized this is, like my dad was hospitalized, right? My dad was hospitalized for a while actually. And at that time, I used to have a F&B business, food and beverages business. I had a chicken joint. So I actually just bought that business from my friends because I believe like I was running it by myself. So I might as well buy the business, right? So I was revamping the business. And then at the same time, my dad went to the hospital. So at that time, I had to choose because having an F&B business is very operationally heavy. Like you have to check, unless you have like a very strong operational person, you have to check like on a single day, every single day. But when my dad was hospitalized, I made the decision to be with my dad. So I let go of my chicken business. It's still put on hold up until now, to be very honest, because I want to focus in YouTube. And the reason why I want to focus more in YouTube was the fact when my dad was hospitalized, he's a doctor. So like when he was hospitalized from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m., we had doctor visit. And I wanted to be there to understand like his healing process and all of that. So I could only work at 11 p.m., right? But with YouTube, I could make it happen. I checked my script from my script writer at 11 p.m. My dad woke up at midnight asking to go to the restroom. I took him to the restroom, and then took care of him for a bit. And then I went back to, checking videos. Like, which other jobs allow this to happen?
Yeah.
Really? And that was in January, and my account was monetized in December. So while having the time flexibility and the freedom to take care of my dad while, like still working at the hours that I could put the time in, I was making money.
Mm,
That's where I think my mindset really changed. I'm like, okay, you want freedom, you want flexibility, like really, this is it.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's what made me change. I think that event really changed the way how I see YouTube. And if you ask me about the future, like 5 years, 10 years from now, I really want to make this as a business. I think, Paul, I'm not as young as I look. Like we're Asian, we can have that. But I think like one, one of the thing, again, like my reason to become an entrepreneur is I want to bring blessing to others, right? And I think I could do it through YouTube as well, because by the end of the day, for me to have contents in YouTube, I need, like a script writer, I need video editor, I need thumbnail artist. So I could actually provide a working space for Indonesian creative people, and I could actually give them a fair remuneration. So I see this turning into a business, not only having one account, but hopefully, inshallah, having several accounts. And the crazy part, believe it or not, I one of my big dream is to create an IP. Like, I mean, like I don't think I'm a good writer, but I have the idea. I learned from YouTube. I'm not a good writer, but that's okay. There are script writer, but I have the idea.
Yeah.
And I really believe YouTube can be the platform to develop an IP. I mean, normally people will develop an IP through like, like cinema, through Netflix, through TV, but YouTube is a platform and people just haven't used that or realized that yet. So I even think of the potential up until that level. But of course, it's going to be a process.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. From the story that you share about like, you starting this business, you starting the chicken, you starting YouTube, it's like there's so many things that you want to start and like you seem so ambitious and like so dedicated to like making it work. And so like I'm actually curious, what is that thing that like motivates you and gets you up every single day to like do it? Because like, some people have that fire inside of them, like for me, that fire was when my mom lost everything and I was sleeping on a couch like for 6 months. That was the fire that lit me up every single day. So was there any specific moment for you, or is it just like grinding away 20 years in the corporate 9 to 5? You're like, hell no, I don't want this anymore.
Well, that part, yeah, I have a bit of no, no. I think I'm also like kind of like a bread and butter for my parents, so that's also my fire one. And I think the other thing is just okay, I'm getting old, but I have to say this. I just want to be able to bring good contribution for my country. I
Mm,
love my country, you know that. I think from our coaching classes. And I believe by again having a business and having a profitable business so I can help other people, it's really my fire. I just want to do something good for the people of Indonesia. That's really my fire right now.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I remember the first channel that you started was about like Indonesia folklore, right?
Yeah.
And
Back to that some other time, you know?
that's right. That's right. Okay, cool, awesome. And last question here for the person that's watching this, maybe in the same position that you were in your 9 to 5, maybe was in the corporate world for 10, 15, 20 years, making good money, but they just kind of feel like their soul kind of sucked out of them. What advice or encouragement could you offer them as they begin their journey into online business, into YouTube automation, or into just any other hustle that like can help free them? Like, what advice would you give them?
Just start, really. I think like a lot of people are, I mean, like me, I have like my biggest failure. My biggest fear is to failure for failure. So, and then when that happened, basically we don't want to start, like we just decide not to do anything.
Mm,
Stop wasting time on imaginary problems. I think a lot of us like to do it, right? We overthink and we start thinking about problems that might or might not happen. So just stop and then start doing it. And I think like with working people, I was there. I think the most important thing is to be with a community that understand what they're doing. So you really cut down the learning time because you can learn it yourself, I think, but there's going to be a lot of back and forth, up and down learning. But when you learn it with, like the expert or the community that really has done it for a while, you're really cutting your learning time. So hopefully you gain the skill and the knowledge in a shorter time versus doing it on your own. So
100%.
and
100%.
if you don't mind, Paul, I also would like to add a bit about YouTube itself, like my second reason on why I contacted you, to be very honest. So, I mean, I was in the marketing side, right? So, I was the brands that really pays, uh, different platforms, and I did this for 20 years, so I kind of understand how touch point works. And in marketing, basically we use different touch point to convey our objective, right? Either that increasing awareness or creating conversion, we use different touch points. And we can categorize this touch point into two types: conventional or traditional touch point and digital touchpoint. Conventional is like TV, radio, billboard, out of home. That would be like traditional or conventional. While digital is YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, advertising, and website, that will be digital. And literally, like the data that I have dealt with shows that, like the brand spending allocation for digital grew significantly. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we're not spending in conventional. We still spend in TV, in, billboard, depending on the brand, depending on the goals of the brand, really, the situation and the goals of the brand. But the allocation for digital grew significantly. And I really believe it's just the beginning, because by the end of the day, marketing, what we do is we look at our consumers, right? And we adapt. And as we can see, consumer is getting more and more digitalized. So I think the number is just going to grow significantly higher.
Yeah.
So
100%.
perhaps the allocation of digital will be much higher, like soon in the future versus conventional one.
Yeah, 100%. So just to break down what you mentioned for everyone out there, like, what Melda is saying is the fact that more people or more companies are going to be spending on these platforms on YouTube. And if companies are spending more on these platforms and we're, YouTube creators or faceless creators, guess who's the people that benefit? It's people like me and you, Melda, that are on the platforms that are making these videos, and there's going to be more money to go around for everyone. So it's only going to get better and better from here. As more people move from traditional to digital marketing. So thanks so much for the feedback here. I think one thing that really stood out to me was the fact that you said just start. And a lot of people, I think they're too smart for their own good. You know, what do I mean by that? A lot of people, they overthink and they are in analysis paralysis and they never do anything. I think one of the things that served me really well is that I'm obsessively delusional. Like I'm so delusional with what I believe is possible that I just go with it. And even though I fail and I make mistakes and I stumble along the way, I still find a way to make it happen. But I notice a lot of the people that have like, you know, really smart, maybe great careers, maybe high IQ, maybe went to a great college, they often are too scared to take those risks because they overthink and they never get started.
Yeah.
Right?
No. And you cannot blame them, Paul. I mean, I was one of them.
Yeah.
And the reason I was one of them because I was in marketing for 20 years. Like we handle such a big money that everything has to be perfect.
Yeah. Exactly.
If we want to launch something, it has to be perfect. We cannot have any mistake. We cannot recall the product. We cannot recall the ads. So that's why we become overthinking, right? Like, okay, what if it doesn't work? What if this happens? So yeah, I think it's also the way how some people were brought up throughout their career. So
100%.
that's why, like, to be an entrepreneur is to be delusional, right? To believe in something that no one else believes in.
That's
Like
right.
my family doesn't believe in an entrepreneurship, Paul. Like they don't. So like imagine like my mom reaction when I told her, "Yeah, I'm leaving the corporate world that you love me to be in here so much." But she's been like, I mean, like I know it was really difficult for her to accept that I left the corporate side, but she gave me her blessing and she's been very supportive. So
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Question for you is, you had this conditioning of have everything be perfect, but when you got started in YouTube, nothing was perfect. When you got started in business, nothing's perfect. You're figuring things out every single day. You're making mistakes. You're failing, right? And so like what was that mindset shift for you? Because I think a lot of people are stuck in that like middle zone where they're like, I don't know, like, man, but I want to do it, and I'm just scared. It's like risky, and like I don't want to lose money. Like they're in that middle zone right there, but they have that one inside them. So, what advice would you give them?
just start again.
Just Come on.
Just start. I mean, like by the end of the day, it can be something that sustain you like later on in life, you know. So you build something, you might not get something like in a month or like in a week, but you're actually building something sustainable for the future as long as you want to do the process. So really just start. I know it's scary. I mean, like in but think of it of an investment for your skill and knowledge,
Yeah.
because I feel, Paul, what I learned from this community is it's something that I can use outside YouTube as well. It's not just for, you know, like the my channel or whatever. I mean, like the knowledge, the even the wisdom that I got from you and the other coaches are something that I can apply for my other businesses. So
100%.
yeah,
100%.
just really like just start, and the most important thing is knowing that you have a good community to back you up. I think if it wasn't because of you, the coaches, and this like super supportive community, I would have walked away like when my first channel didn't work out, you know. Like I would just say like, okay, I'm not trying this anymore. But
Yeah.
the support kept me going, really.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Melda, thank you so much for sharing your story. Congratulations so far on reaching your goals. I think this is just really the start. I'm very excited to see your future and your growth. So, with that being said, is there any last words here for everyone before we close off this interview?
Okay, I think just start.
Just start. That's it. That's it. Mic drop.
Just
Like,
start, just
just
start.
start.
Yeah. No, and do your research. I mean, like to be fair, to give affirmation, yourself an affirmation, just do your research. Stock Paul, stock like Freedom Accelerator. And when you think this is something right for you, just jump into the call. Like is a call with your Freedom Accelerator representative, and they will explain everything in that call. And if you think it's for you, just start. If you don't think it's for you, at least you know what it's all about, right? So just take the first step to book the call because it can really change your life.